Have you ever had a good time in the middle of your depression? You might have been anywhere from a bit dysthemic to rather fucked, though not fucked enough that you couldn't get out of bed at all, and an opportunity presented itself very readily. There was a party that was planned, maybe your friends were there to show you a night on the town to improve your mood, and against all expectation, because you know how depression is, even the things that you would normally enjoy are just sort of to you most of the time. There was no feeling of underlying indifferent ennui. You actually had a good time. Maybe you even went to bed that night thinking, damn, could this have been the thing that sort of broke this depressive phase? That would be very nice. I've been depressed for way too long. I had such an experience just this weekend. It was a dinner party, fantastic food, tremendous people, laughter until my lungs hurt. Honestly, really, genuinely a very good time. Next day, I was a bit exhausted, but I was still looking forward to doing something that day that was also very entertaining. But after that, spending a whole weekend of mostly having fun, I was devastated emotionally. And of course I knew there was a chance that this would happen, because this is actually a very common thing in people with depression, and given that a lot of people have depression usually as like side effects of other neurological disorders that they have, well, it's very common in a lot of people in general. It's just that I personally, for the longest time, for some god-awful reason, didn't know about it. We call this serotonin depletion or serotonin crash, and there are a few other neurotransmitters involved in this whole process, so my personal term that I really like is depression tax, which in turn is also a little bit of a misnomer because the fundamental neurochemical processes that lead to this kind of thing happening actually happen not just to depressed people, but to everyone. Essentially, when you party or you have some other thing that you really enjoy, spend a few hours and like really having a great time, your brain produces a lot of happy chemicals. There's a big demand for those happy chemicals at that particular point in time. And this doesn't have to be because you are laughing with friends. There are certain drugs, like for instance ecstasy, that basically do this exact same thing, and there we actually very actively call it a crash, and it does tend to be rather severe because there is a lot of burning of serotonin. The entire happy chemical factory system of the brain is working overtime. It is churning out at maximum capacity, and eventually it'll get tired, and you'll get tired, you'll be exhausted, you'll go home, you'll sleep it off. Now, the human body has a series of complex mechanisms that constantly measure the amount of serotonin and other neurotransmitters that you have flowing around your body. And when serotonin gets too low, these mechanisms ensure that new serotonin is produced to reach a certain baseline. After you've had a great time and your serotonin factory shuts down because it's exhausted, your serotonin levels immediately begin to plummet, but that is at first fine because you still have a lot of serotonin in your body. But eventually it is going to hit that threshold of where it's too low, when you will have a little dip of time when it's going to be underneath this threshold as the serotonin factories pick production back up. For a lot of us, a lot of the time, we attribute this kind of thing mainly to hangover symptoms, which really cover up the whole situation because they make you feel way worse than the serotonin crash that you are experiencing. But even if you didn't drink, you know that it's rather normal to, after having a night of partying, be somewhat exhausted the next day. But people who suffer from depression won't be just a little bit not in the ideal mood. They will be fucking wrecked emotionally. Genuinely, all of the bits of depression time that I have had over the course of my life were after some sort of very nice event where I genuinely enjoyed myself that happened to fall within a prolonged depressive episode. The worst day of my life was after a great party. This is because, of course, with depressed people, our serotonin factories are broken from the get-go. So if through some miracle we do manage to get them fired up, they will burn out so fucking hard. Much like with everyone else, they will just grind to a halt because they're exhausted, serotonin levels will drop, and then when we reach the threshold, the mechanisms that go, oh, we need more serotonin, are gonna go, oh, we need more serotonin. But then instead of picking the production back up, the serotonin factories are gonna be like, how is this my problem? So you get nothing. Serotonin levels continue to fall, you plummet way down below the threshold, and the serotonin factories take a lot longer to pick production back up. And then, because of the effect of having been down lower, it'll even take you longer to go up to that level again, and because they produce even less than regular serotonin factories in the first place, that is a further exacerbating factor of that situation. Because yes, even when you have depression, you have a baseline of serotonin production that your body tries to meet. It's just that your factories are not equipped to even handle that minimal load. But just know and understand, it can get worse. So if this has happened to you, and it probably will happen to you at some point in your life, know that no, actually, your depression hasn't plummeted to a worse level where it will now stay forever. This is absolutely a known phenomenon, an understood phenomenon, and it is going to be rather shit for a period of time, but you are going to recover from this probably at least tomorrow. It's something there is a word for, and now you have a word for it too: the depression tax. Or, serotonin crash, serotonin depletion, whatever you feel like fits best into your personal vocabulary. It doesn't mean that you're broken or that you can't have fun. It just means that your brain is a dickhead. Thank you very much for watching this video. This was a very short one just for my depression fam. There's gonna be another thing that I produced this week because I'll be gone the week after that, and you're gonna have the year review while I am out. Like, comment, subscribe, share this to your relevant communities, but do not spam them. Consider supporting some of my merchandise or buying some of my short story collection. This has gone off the rails. This probably happens to DeFranco too. When he says his regular things and he changes something up, his brain gets all jumbled. And in that spirit, if you want to and if you can, try having a good time over Christmas. If you can't, that's fine too. And see you around, cunts.